2nd of October, and that is Gandhi Jayanti. And all of you would agree with me, and I think you will also agree with me. He was actually one of the most profound proponents of peace in this world. And we have on this occasion, you are with us, who is actually a crusader of peace in a region which has been practically perpetually in trouble, maybe for the last 7-8 decades. And what a nice way to honor Mahatma Gandhi. We actually have on his Jayanti, they have a holiday tomorrow, that is why we are celebrating this today. To have such a profound international peace crusader with us, who will definitely share his part of the story. But before we come to that, I share and hand over the mic to him. You know, the significance of Mahatma Gandhi to soil is actually also something which is to be understood. You know, Anil Sachdev, our founder, you know, many of you would not know that when he was 15 years old, he was selected as one of those young school students to talk about Mahatma Gandhi's life in one of the international competitions. That was the time when he read everything and anything about Mahatma Gandhi. And that had a profound impact on him and on his value systems, which you all have witnessed in your tenure here at SOIL. And incidentally, when he joined the first organization, the second organization, from Tata Motors, he moved on to join Vikram Lal's company, Eicher. Vikram Lal, he had worked closely with Mahatma Gandhi also during the movements. And there was one picture in Vikram Lal's room, and that was of Mahatma Gandhi. He said that he is that one person who is a real inspiration because he talks of peace, and nothing is more important than peace on this planet. And here we have Yuval, and you might have read he has fought in one of the Lebanon wars way back, I think 40 years back, 30 years back. And the best thing is, he was fighting and he was on the side of Israel, but suddenly something happened, and he will tell, I don't know, I need to know from him more, that what happened inside him that actually made him revolt against, he actually demonstrated against this fight. Because somehow he did not find any meaning in why this bloodshed. And that day onwards, for the last almost 4 decades, he has been crusading against all violence, and he is striving his best to see to it that how peace can be brought. All of you know about, must have heard about the West Bank crisis, and he has been consistently working on that West Bank crisis. And we are so fortunate that maybe he will share some of his experiences. This is an out-of-the-world experience for you because you have never had a speaker of this sort at SOIL. You need to understand one thing. Try to know more from him. What is it that drives him to take on this daunting task of crusading against the violence that we see all across? With these words, I will actually first show you a small video of Mahatma Gandhi, and after that, you have to take off the session. Please have your questions ready and ask him those questions which probably are bothering you also.
The ascetic protester for peace, Mahatma Gandhi is an unlikely contender for the title of greatest political leader of the 20th century. But as the father of Indian democracy, his radical program of passive resistance still inspires nationalist movements today. Born in Gujarat province in 1869 at the height of the British occupation of India, Gandhi studied law in England, where he was introduced to the Eastern philosophies that influenced his political teachings. He also read Henry David Thoreau's book, Civil Disobedience, which had a huge impact on him. In 1893, Gandhi moved to South Africa, where he spent more than 20 years and became the first non-white lawyer to be admitted to the bar. The racism he encountered there from Europeans led him to mobilize his fellow Indians and develop this Satiraka philosophy, a search for truth through non-violent striving for freedom. In 1914, he returned to India to fight British oppression in his homeland. He used the weapons of non-cooperation and peaceful resistance, including strike action and public demonstrations. Gandhi's hunger strikes became an effective publicity tool. The 1920s newsreels were gaining popularity, and people around the world were fascinated by a fragile but indomitable figure who fasted for a month at a time. Even his arrest in 1922 couldn't dampen his followers' enthusiasm. He served 3 years of a 6-year sentence before being released due to ill health. Gandhi's causes of the 1930s included women's equality, exploitation of the labouring classes, and the plight of India's lowest caste, the untouchables. But his main focus was Indian independence. In 1930, he wrote a letter to Britain's Viceroy of India saying that if his demands for self-determination were not met, he would break the salt laws. The British ignored this demand, not seeing it as much of a threat. A few days later, Gandhi set off on a march to an area rich in natural salt, accompanied by reporters from many countries who were fascinated with the independence leaders' unusual tactics. On April 5th, Gandhi picked up a clod of salt, defying the law that gave the British a monopoly on the production and sale of salt products. Hundreds of thousands of people followed his lead, and Indian jails were soon overflowing with protesters. The British were forced to hold talks with Gandhi and start negotiations for Indian self-rule. There was still some way to go until India achieved independence, however. The outbreak of World War II pushed the fight for independence to a new level. Gandhi opposed India's involvement in the war on the grounds that people could not support the British struggle for freedom when they did not have freedom themselves. He called on the British to quit India, and he and many supporters spent years in jail until independence was finally won in 1947. But 6 months later, tragedy struck. A religious radical shot and killed Gandhi while he was taking his nightly walk. Prime Minister Nehru voiced the feelings of millions when, in an address to the nation, he said that Gandhi's assassination meant a light had gone out of their lives. We will not see him again, as we've seen him for these many years, he said. We will not run to him for advice or seek solace from him. That's a terrible blow, not only for me, but for millions and millions in this country. Gandhi was cremated in a traditional ceremony attended by thousands of grief-stricken Indians, and his ashes poured into urns and sent across India. Some remain in shrines to this day. Gandhi lived what he taught, and his philosophy of peaceful resistance and strength through non-violent action has inspired millions. On the anniversary of his death every year, schools around the world observe a day of non-violence and peace in his memory.
Okay. Can you hear me? Oh, great. I'm just delighted and honored to be here, and I am humbled by being here in the presence of Gandhi, and I want you to know that when I met Neil in January in Ahmedabad, our seminar there focused on Gandhi's style, and as I watched this film, the thing that stuck out for me the most was what the man said at the end in the narration, that he lived what he taught. You know, so many of us can say the right things and even write a check to the causes we believe in, but to live day by day truths that we believe in, that's the the real challenge. My mother used to tell the girl who brings a new boyfriend home, she says, "Mom, he's a nice guy, but you should know he's a communist." So her mother says, "Communist, communist, how does he treat his mother?" You know, the question is not what is our ideology, it's how do we treat our mothers? How do we treat our neighbors? How do we treat our children? So Gandhi for me is this coming together of a strong belief system, but also a personal example. It's really a wonderful miracle that tomorrow I get to go to his grave and to join in the celebration of his birth 150 years ago. And I'm very happy to be here in Delhi, and particularly to be here at Soil after hearing Amanil and Dr. Pacha and the other members of the staff that I met. And the more I learn, the better I like what they're doing here. So I should tell you just a bit about myself. I was born and raised in New York City. I grew up in the New York area, and I moved to California to become a rock and roll musician in the 60s, and I became very politicized. I was tear gassed and put in jail for my activism against the war in Vietnam, and so my rock and roll began to be political rock and roll, and we had a band called Contraband. Good name, no? Good music too. What happened is that many of my Jewish friends were identifying with the Palestinians as part of the New Left. And I couldn't identify because I didn't know enough. So I took myself to Israel to figure things out. I gave myself 2 weeks to figure out what was happening in the Middle East. 45 years later, I'm still working on it. But what happened to me in Israel was, I'll tell you when the funny parts come, so, so that's when you can laugh. You're allowed to laugh. You're allowed to laugh. And what happened to me is I fell in love with the country. I couldn't believe it, what I was seeing. I felt more at home than I'd ever felt in America. And I realized that I was home, and that America had been a station on the way to coming home. So I moved to Israel with my first wife, and we joined the kibbutz, collective socialist settlement inside Israel, not in the occupied territories. I don't know how much you know about Israel, but I'm not going to give you a history of Israel or the history of conflict. You can certainly read up about it in the internet. But I'll tell you what I do understand. Well, didn't finish the story. So I fell in love with Israel. Stayed on the kibbutz for 15 years. Moved off the kibbutz after some years, got divorced, got remarried, married a local Israeli woman. And we have a 20-year-old daughter, and I have a 44-year-old son and a 40-year-old daughter from my first marriage. And they live all over the country. My 20-year-old is a jazz singer, and you can look her up, Abid Peck, and she has some of her original stuff on YouTube. She's very good, and I say that completely objectively. And I was active in the militant anti-occupation peace movement. And I distinguish that because I was in a militant organization that did the kinds of things that I used to do in the States. In the States, when I was struggling against the war in Vietnam, I would burn the American flag. And in this, and I thought it was making a difference. I thought that it was making a statement. And I was missing something, but I wasn't aware of what I was missing. And when I got active in the Israeli movement, I began to behave in similar ways to the way I worked in the States. until I realized that Gandhi's message is really the truth. I didn't know anything about Gandhi at the time, but I knew that you had to walk your talk. And in the peace organization I was working in, people were making war against each other. The organization itself, a peace organization, was a very unfriendly place. And I realized that there was too much inconsistency. So I left. I tried to change the organization, did not succeed, and I left the National Secretariat, and I was in the desert for a couple of years politically. And then I found Sulha. And Sulha is an organization. Sulha means in Arabic reconciliation. And yet it's also a word, even though it's Arabic, that's used by Israelis in Hebrew. When you're talking Hebrew with an Israeli, you say, let's end this conflict. You say, let's have a sulh. So it works in both languages and in both cultures. And what I discovered at Sulha was that we could struggle for peace, but we could also behave peacefully with each other. And the relationships within the organization reflected our vision of a peaceful world. That's my alarm clock telling me to move on. So it also means the same. That's wonderful. So it works. You know, I understand there's an Arabic influence on India, and you know, it's just wonderful. So the word works in India as well. And now, so what we do, and I'm going to show you a short film, is we bring people together to know each other, because we feel that hatred breaks down when people have fools together, when people dance or sing or pray together. Then something changes the moment there's music or spirit or heart in the room. Just speaking of walking your talk, I invite you to close your eyes for 1 minute. I did that partly because I'm an exhibitionist, but also because I thought that I should really do what I'm talking about, which is to bring what's beyond language and beyond argument, and to share with you that piece of life, which, the next time you're in a marketing presentation, I'm not sure that you should pull out your flute and play it. You'll have to decide what's appropriate, but there are so many tools available to us. And yet, many of us, when we get to politics, we are, that's the tool we know. I'm going to show you how right I am and what a fool you are for believing what you believe. And in the end, you will drop to your knees with tears in your eyes and you will say, my God, you're right, and I'm so wrong. It doesn't happen that way. It doesn't happen that way. People do not come around. And this is what we're here for people to come around. I don't care if you're a marketing director trying to bring people around to a new strategy for marketing, or if you're a peace activist trying to get people to to examine their own assumptions about peace and war. It's all the same. It has to do with interpersonal contact. How you treat your mother. How you treat the person in that conversation. Does he feel abused by the way you're talking to him? Or does he feel invited? Does he feel welcome? Does he feel respected? And that's a question that's true for organizational psychologists, which is my profession, peace activists, which is my avocation, and all of the professions that you will be working in. Dr. Batra was speaking about teaching finance, and she said, but the interpersonal piece is so important along with the knowledge of finance. Finance might be about numbers, but if you need to translate those numbers to people in order to advance an agenda, you have a relationship. We have a relationship. So at any given point, it's really a question of, is the driver who thinks I'm finishing at 6 going to get the message that I'm finishing at 6:30 so that he doesn't have to waste his time downstairs waiting? There are so many little ways that we can take each other into account. And so many of us are blind to the opportunities for bracing people to what we have to do. So I want to share a short film, minutes, to give you, rather than my explaining it all, you get a sense of what Sulfa is about. And I'm looking forward to your questions, so write them down.
The Sukkot Peace Project is a grassroots organization for healing and reconciliation of children of Abraham, Jews, Arabs, Israelis, Palestinians, all meet in Sukkot gatherings of tribal fires, listening circles, multicultural workshops, sacred interfaith rituals, shared meals, and creation of arts and music.
אנחנו עכשיו בשנה העשירית לקיום סוכה כארגון, כמקום שאנשים נפגשים בו ברקע של הסכסוך. אז במשך 10 שנים האחרונות נפגשו לדעתי תמיד 15,000 איש.
الناس اللي بتعرف واللي بتحب تيجي هي بذات نفسها ترجع للفئة الثانية اللي ما بتحبش تشترك بهذا النوع من اللقاءات ويورجيهم عن طريق التجربة. تعالوا شوفوا احنا جربنا والإشي كتير حلو أو كتير مفيد وفيش إشي مخوف وهم زينا وفي أنا شفت جندي وقعدت معاه وهو كمان بده السلام مثلا. مجرد إنه كل لقاء بيرجع وكل لقاء بيجي وبيسلم وبيجيب أصحابه حتى لو في الحلقة بيقول أنا مش بالسلام بالنسبة لي هذا وجوده كتير ضروري.
סוכה קיבלה הרבה פעמים הרבה צורות במשך השנים האלה. קיבלה מפגשים ענקיים של אלפי אנשים, קרו ביחד, משטחים, מהגדה, מעזה, מכל רחבי הארץ, יהודים וערבים, לכל התרבויות להיפגש ולשתף בסיפור החיים שלהם, מה שיוצר איזשהו ריכוך לשנאה, לסטימוליזציה הזאת.
סוכה זאת הזדמנות כלפי אנשים שלא מכירים, שלא יודעים, שנמצאים במקומות של פחד, במקומות של בורות, של עוינות, של היסטוריה מדממת, פשוט לבוא, לראות שבצד השני יש אנשים שכואב להם. אנשים שמבקשים מחיר, אנשים שמבקשים מקום. אם זה מקום פיזי, אם זה מקום רגשי, אם זה מקום תרבותי, אם זה מקום נכון.
يعني فكرة عن اليهود إنهم أعداء يعني بأي وسيلة. حبيت إنه أبني علاقة مع هذه الأشخاص اللي سواء مش بالسواء إنه نغير النظرة العامة بإنه إحنا كل الطرفين أعداء بعض.
מה אני חושב על איך לפתור? זה קודם כל נפגע שהוא פותח אחד מלשי, פותח הלב. האדם שלנו מישהו אחר.
We engaged in many activities together, and we also watched each other pray. We didn't just watch, we also tried to engage. We had their prayer services together. And I thought that that was a very humanizing experience to see that they also have a day-to-day life, where them to see that we also have a day-to-day life. Because it's so difficult to create harmony and to create dialogue when there's a wall that's dividing you and the other.
הסוכה מביאה כלים רכים, כלים של הקשבה, של התבוננות פנימה. כלים שמכבדים את השורש האמוני, השורש התרבותי שכל אחד מביא איתו. כלים שיש בהם לא מעט מוזיקה, תפילה. העבודה שמאפשר חיבור בינינו.
أنا من المنتدى على الأكلات أنا إلحق بس بدي أخبره عن طريق الكلمة الحوار التعاون ما بين الفلسطيني والإسرائيلي نحس إنه في تجانس في تقارب في الأرواح في الحديث النظرة الكلمة فهذا الشيء كمان بيساعد على إنه احنا نكون أفضل مع بعض.
שאנשים יוצאים פה, יוצאים הרבה סיפורים, היה לי כיף, טוב, אבל גם אני יודע איך הוא חי. וגם אותו בחור מלמעלה יודע שההוא שהולך לצבא עוד שנה, ואחשוב על הפרט חיה שהוא בטלוויזיה פוגש.
مع إنه في صعوبات كثيرة، في تعب، في أحيان بعد صارت سياسية أو اقتصادية أو أي سبب كان، لكن إيماننا بقضيتنا وبقضية إنه العدالة بين البشر بتخلينا نكمل مشوارنا ونتابع مهما كان من صعوبات.
When very people-to-people human encounters, we can fight against alienation, we can fight against dehumanization, we can fight against anonymity, and that we can really bring about the ability to soften our hearts that are so hardened from so much fear and violence in this area. الشبيبة يقول إنهم يتجندلوا هم اللي ممكن يعملوا تأثير. الشبيبة الفلسطينيين اللي ممكن يبقوا حجار هم اللي ممكن يعملوا تأثير. أي تغيير بالنسبة لأي إنسان حتى لو كان كثير بسيط بالنسبة لنا تقدم معين في مجال السلام.
لازم تشوف تجرب أنت بعدين بتحكم على الشيء. لا تخلي عيونك مسكرة، فتح علينا من طلبنا وبتلاقي لك شريك وبتلاقي لك رفيق وبتلاقي لك صديق ولك أخ بالإنسانية.
אני שואלת את עצמי מה המוטיבציה שלי לעשות את מה שאני עושה. אני יכולה להגיד שאני שגדלתי בירושלים של לפני 5-6 ימים, שחוויתי מלחמה, שחוויתי גבול, חוויתי את הטראומה ואת הפחד. מאוד חשוב לי לאפשר לאנשים, לאפשר לי, לילדים שלי, למשפחה שלי ולשאר אנשים שאני נוגעת בהם. להתגבר על הפצע, להתגבר על המחוב שאנחנו כולנו נושאים כל כך הרבה שנים. זה כואב להרוג, זה כואב להיהרג, להיפצע, לחיות
ובאמת החפש שלנו חיים בארץ כל כך קטנה ומצומצמת. ואני מאמינה בכל ליבי, אני רואה אנשים ישראלים ופלסטינאים שצמאים קשר ומגע, חיבור, להיפגש בגובה העיניים. זה מה שאני משתדלת לעשות.
So that gives you a sense of what Sulfa is about. The guy I asked you to notice, his name is Munir. Munir's family was driven from their home in 1948. They lived in refugee camps in Gaza and then in Jordan. And Munir grew up hating the Jews, Israelis. He had never met one. And then at the age of about 35, he decided to come to Palestine from Jordan in order to kill Israelis. And that was his mission, to avenge his family's loss. And before he was able to carry out his plan, someone invited him to a Sulfa gathering, and he was amazed and shocked. And he underwent a transformation that took a few months, and today he's a member of our board of directors. So it's a wonderful realization to know that people's prejudices or hatred can be transformed, can really change. So perhaps if you have a couple of questions now about Sulfa, I'd like to move on to something else. But perhaps this film aroused some questions of you. You know, you see the dancing and the conversations, the heart of our meetings, our listening circles. Now, in Israel, people are not great listeners. If you take a breath while you're talking, that's an invitation for me to make go into there, so you don't take a breath. And you know, we argue, and we don't listen very well. God gave us a wonderful hint. He gave us 2 ears and just 1 mouth. Most Israelis have not gotten the hint. So we have circles where we have the Native American talking project and passed around. We have very strict rules, but there's no argument. There's sharing from the heart. As the guy said in the movie, what's unique about Sulfa is that we're not doing this intellectual, cerebral sort of argumentation. We're sharing about our lives. So a Palestinian man will come and show us that on his phone a picture of dogs attacking him and his wife when they were in their orchard. And Israelis will respond with what they feel. And an Israeli woman will talk about her sons in the army, who are actually in the occupation army. And the Palestinians will listen to them, to hear what their experience, her experience as a mother, 2 soldiers would be. So it's really about understanding, and not being right. So many of us, it's so important to us to be right. I'm in an argument. I always ask myself, after you win an argument, anyone. Go home and tell your wife, I want an argument today. So if it's not about winning arguments, what is it about? That's what I'd like to talk about in a minute, but perhaps someone has a question about soul.
How did you come about with the first meeting? How did you organize it? What was it like? Did you, and was there any heated tension? I mean, I'm sure something like that might have been the case.
Yes, there's tension at every meeting. The first meeting happened at the outbreak of the 2000 Intifada. They said in the film 10 years, that shows you the film is not new. But it's a 20-year organization, and it started at the beginning, 18 years, and it started at the beginning of the Intifada, the uprising, where coffee shops were blowing up, and the Israeli army was all over the occupied territories. Very violent time. That is exactly when we got together the first time. I was not there. I was still active in the other organization. And of course, every time we meet, I'll tell you a story. Recently, we invited a settler. It's very easy to invite the leftists to come to our meeting, the peace people. But that's not the reason we exist. We exist in order to get the settlers, the violent people, the anti-reconciliation people. Those are our target audience. So this settler and I were in the hospital together, and we were bed by bed. So one day when we were bored, we started talking. And he told me about his life on his settlement in the occupied territories, and I told him about my work in Sultan. And he said, why don't you invite me to one of those meetings? I was embarrassed that it hadn't occurred to me to invite this right-wing settler. And so I invited him, and one of the Palestinians was exactly his age. The settler boy was just 18 on his way into the army. And a Palestinian who attended came, and I said, I want you to meet someone, and I asked that you spend some time with him. The Palestinian looked at me angrily. He was limping because he was permanently crippled from the beating he endured while in prison in Israeli jail. And he was not eager to meet this settler, but he agreed. They began talking. And suddenly they refused to come and join the other activities because they were so involved in their conversation. And from a distance, we saw them sharing cigarettes. And Yossi, the Israeli, and Ahmed, the Palestinian, just would not leave each other. And at the end of the night, we had to get the Palestinians back to the roadblock before the army closed the roadblock. So we needed him to get on the bus. And I'm saying, come on, guys, it's time to finish. So they stood up, and Ahmed says to Yossi, Yossi, you're joining the army. And in 2 months, you're going to be at the roadblock, and I'm going to be across the street throwing rocks at you. Please, brother, be careful. And I'm telling you, these breakthroughs, these moments, these strange moments, this picture of a Palestinian who's planning to continue throwing rocks at the soldiers, but now he knows a soldier. So his heart is conflicted and he doesn't know what to say. This is possible. This is possible. Possibility is not prediction. It's possible it will rain tomorrow. That's not interesting. But it's possible that my grandchildren will not have to go into the army when they are of age. That's a possibility I create. Possibility is created. When Gandhi led the Salt March, that was a possibility. It was his saying, it is possible for us to be an independent country. The Irish made peace. The South Africans made peace. It's possible. So, there's a political level, and I go to demonstrations, and I write letters, and I lobby, but we have a terrible prime minister, I'm not happy to say, and I don't know if we'll succeed in unseating him next year in the election. But at the human level, it's possible to work. And the work Sultan does is important, and basically, there are some lessons that need to be learned about how we conduct. Can I raise this? You all got the message? Welcome back. Happy you're back. Even though tomorrow you're not going to be back. Thank you. So, we have a project that we call Beyond Persuasion. And the Beyond Persuasion project is based on the idea that persuasion does not work. I said that before, that convincing people, you know that the word convince comes from the Latin roots, vanquish. To convince someone is to vanquish him, to conquer him. Now, how many of you would like to be conquered? You don't want to be convinced. You know that the mafia, where they kill people, the pistol that the hitman uses is called a convincer. And they're smiling. You know, people do not want to be forced to agree with us. And so many of us believe that if I just say enough clever things, if I have all the facts, if I win the argument, things will change. Well, they don't change that way. So how do they change? So there are some principles that we've learned, and we're still learning them. And if I forget to say it at the end, I'm going to say it now, which is practice. Do not believe that at the end of this talk, if you took notes, if you wrote down every clever thing I said, you will then be a very persuasive person. Because we need to practice. We need to practice these skills just as you practice cricket. You have to learn how to do these things. I'm still learning it. I fail, and then I fail again, but I fail a little better than I failed the last time. You know, we have a project where we go down to the center of Jerusalem. There's a right-wing group that believes, a racist group that believes that Jewish women should not marry Arab men, and they hate Palestinians. Sometimes they go through the streets looking for Palestinians on their way home from work, so they can beat them up. So they give out material downtown Jerusalem on Thursday evening, and we go down to give out our material and to look for conversation. Because we need to practice. We need to talk. How are we going to win the election if we don't go out and talk to millions of Israelis about the situation? And then the question is, how do we talk to them? So, here are some of the principles we've learned. And we do a workshop called Beyond Persuasion to train activists in the art of reaching out to the hostile other side. First of all, we have to remember that they're not the other side. They're Israelis that we have to live with. We're going to live with them no matter what happens. So the question is, how are we going to live with them as enemies? Or is there an alternative? So the first thing you have to do in reaching out to someone who is strongly opposed to your opinion another reminder. You have to enter the role. You know, we sort of slop into conversation. We're sitting over coffee and someone says something political and then I say something back, we go back and forth. It's not like that. If you want to be effective, you need to psychologically put on a hat and say, I am now in the role of influencing this person. Because the alternative to convincing people is to influence them. There's a little humility in influence. There's no humility in convincing someone that you're right. But if you can make a little difference. So the first thing is you have to enter the role. We call it insanataki. You enter a role psychologically. And part of entering the role is to get yourself an umbrella. What's an umbrella for? First of all, it's psychological. The umbrella you put over yourself is a decision, a choice, not to be treated. When the person says something offensive, when they insult you, when they attack you personally, you have decided under your umbrella not to be triggered. And this is so common. You know, this is so Buddhist. This is so knowing your center and being in your center. You know, my meditation teacher back in the 60s, he said he went to India and he complained when he learned to be a trainer for meditation. He complained to the guru that there were monkeys jumping on the roof of his hut and he couldn't meditate. So his guru said, if you can't meditate with monkeys jumping on the hut, you can't meditate anywhere. We all have monkeys jumping on the hut. If it's someone cursing at my mother, if it's someone saying terrible things to me, I once had someone say to me, it's too bad you didn't die in the Holocaust with the rest of your family. Now, if I were not in my role, I would go crazy when someone said that. I lost most of my family in the Holocaust. But I have an umbrella, and I am here for a reason other than to get my feelings hurt. Ouch, it hurt my feelings, so what? I'm not going to have my feelings hurt. I have an umbrella. Okay, so we got an umbrella. Now I take on the role of the stage director. I am the stage director in this play. I am responsible for how this is going to go. It's not like, well, let's see how this conversation winds down and maybe it'll be good. No, I'm in charge, psychologically. He doesn't know that I made this decision, but I have decided to be the stage director. So I don't want the sun to be shining in his eye, because that will make him uncomfortable. And I want him to be comfortable with me. And I won't react to everything he said. You know, many of us think that if I thought it, then I should say it. No. If you thought it, you thought it. But choose what you're going to say. How? Choose what you're going to say in order to be effective. I could be giving a seminar on sales, right? Choose what you say. If it's going to advance the process, say it. If it's not going to advance the process, think it. So I need to know how to shut up. That's one of the part of the art. I need to be friendly. I need to create a relationship. To create a grounded relationship. And this could happen in many ways. We can talk about football. We can talk about anything. The shirt he's wearing. Anything. I smoke these little cigars. So sometimes when I'm out there, I have these cigars. If I notice that he's looking at my cigar, I'll pull out a cigar and offer it. Even if he's cursing at my mother. Because I'll do anything to make this guy comfortable. Comfortable enough to listen to me. And it's possible that he's going to talk 80% of the time. But when I finally get my 20%, it's going to be in a relationship that I create, a connection between us. I need to be focused on the result. It's not just a conversation that goes on and on and on. It's going to end. He's going to walk away. He's going to have to meet his bus. He's going to have to. So I need to know where I'm headed. What's possible in this conversation? How much influence can I exert? What will work? What kinds of questions can I ask him? So many of us think about what's the next thing I'm going to say. But the question is, how do I ask questions that will bring him out, that will make him want to talk? And then we have something that we call, well, before that, mutuality. It can't be that psychologically I'm saying to myself, I have the truth, and I'm going to find a good way to get him to understand that I have the truth. It has to be possible for him to teach me something. For him to tell me something I didn't know. There has to be a relationship. Relationships are not one way. So I can appreciate, I can say, thank you for telling me that, I didn't know that. So that he feels that there's an engagement here. And listening. We are such poor listeners. We look like we're listening. In Hebrew, you can say, yes, I heard you. As though we're listening. That's not listening. Most of us have what we call already listening. I look like I'm listening, but I'm already listening to my own voice. I'm already listening to myself. You're a right-winger who hates Arabs, so I don't like you. And you're a prejudiced person. And all of that is in my listening. All of that is making my ears dysfunctional. Because I'm not available to listen to you. What are you afraid of? What are you worried about in life? What are you proud of? What kind of family do you have? I need to ask the questions that bring that person forward to me. If I ever want him to listen to something I have to say. And when I finally say something, we do what we call friendly undermining. We undermine their assumptions, but in a friendly way. We don't say, oh, I just got an inconsistency in your argument, ha ha ha. That's not undermining friendly. In the context of this relationship that we built, that I built with them, I find the holes, I find the cracks. He said to me, the Palestinians are animals. And then I say to him, think, giraffes, and suddenly, because I've used a little humor, he sees how ridiculous it is for him to be saying something like that. He said, you know what I mean, they're not animals, but they'll kill you if you turn your back. And then what do I say? So I will tell him that the leader of the movie came to kill Israelis, but changed his mind. In other words, you were right. Here was a Palestinian who wanted to kill Israelis, but he changed. And he's my friend, and I'll pull out my phone and I'll show him a picture of the leader. That undermines his assumption. That opens a crack in what he's saying. And then finally, when I was a musician, we knew that if we messed up a song really badly, as long as we ended together, everything was okay. The audience would forget how badly we watched the song. So the ending is important. So in our workshops, we will say to the people, when we're doing simulation exercises, Say now it's 3 minutes until we end the conversation. Take control, take mastery of the end of this conversation and finish it well. Now what does well mean? One thing is he will take away food for thought. The other is he will take away a warm feeling about me. He'll go home and he'll say to his wife, I had an argument with a leftist, but you know what? He wasn't a bad guy. I got that far. Then the next time, maybe something more will happen. But I've had a little bit of impact. This is not revolutionary. This doesn't, this doesn't, but this is the way it works. If we are serious, we will be in every city square in Israel 6 months before the election, having these kinds of conversations, skillful conversations. So, I need to give you a chance to ask some questions and make some comments. And I want to tell you one of my favorite sayings about leadership is by a 19th century rabbi on the border between Poland and Russia in Israel, Salina. Salanter said a wonderful thing about leadership. As if you're all on your way into leadership, you're all going to chair. It has two parts. The first part is a rabbi whose congregation does not want to fire him is not a rabbi. A rabbi whose people, whose congregation does not want to fire him is not a rabbi. Why would they say that? Why would Salanter say that? What's the job of a religious leader? Anything that's gone to yes. Some people think that the role of a rabbi is to tell people what they want to do. But the role of a real rabbi, a real leader, is to tell people things that are difficult for them to do. That will make them say, we should fire that rabbi, because he makes us uncomfortable. But the second part says, the rabbi gets fired